Hey, welcome. It's Alison here again, and today I'm going to be talking about how to have fun at an astrology conference and also giving you a little bit of a review over the very recent NORWAC conference in Seattle. As an astrologer, astrology conferences can be great fun. They could even be the highlight of your astrological year. If you're a practicing astrologer or even a student of astrology, you owe it to yourself to try and get to at least one conference once a year, and they can become addictive, I have to tell you, and you may end up actually going to many conferences or workshops and so on during the course of the year. Personally, I like to do at least one conference a year. I would like to do two. Sometimes the traveling can be tiresome, but the actual what you get out of it is so worth so much more than actually the effort of getting there in the first place. So I have a few tips here on how to survive an astrology conference. So first point, book early. If you book early, this gives you two benefits. The one thing is that you get the early bird discount rate, or the super early bird possibly discount rate as well. And it also lets the organizers know to what pace to gear up all their other amenities that are coming on. Because you can usually start to book an astrology conference around sometimes a year ahead, definitely 6 months ahead, and you need to be planning out which ones you're going to be going to in the next year and the year after as well. These need to go into your schedule and so on. Conference organizers generally don't compete with each other for the dates, so you'll find that they come at regular times. The second point is, when you're at the conference, is first up, best dressed. You really do need to actually get to the registration desk early and make sure you've got all your paperwork and find out what's going on. There's also, if you're arriving to a hotel, I do like to get there the night before, because then you can check out all your accommodations, make sure the room is there. If you've got a parking issue, you can make sure you're parked in the right place and everything. So you're not rushing. So the idea is that if you get up early, you're going to be more prepared for the conference as a whole. So my third point is to register at the desk. Now, when you actually get to the hotel, you want to put your stuff down and immediately get down to the registration desk for the conference. So here you're going to meet the conference organizers, the secretary, the reception lady, and she'll be giving you all the information you need, your pamphlets, your flyers, and so on. For instance, at the recent NORWAC Astrology Conference, they give you this handy dandy pamphlet with all of the actual talks and lecturers' information in it. Things could have changed from what was originally on the program for whatever reason, people get ill and so on, but you will pick up your conference information. They will also give you your conference badge to wear, and that will be handy for you. And typically you will put your sun, moon and ascendant sign on the space available for it. So you want to wear your badge all the time as well, so that it's not so that you know your name, because obviously you do, but when you're meeting lots of people, it's easier for them to speak to you and address you by name if you have your name tag on. Also, when you get the pamphlet, you're going to go through it and decide which talks matter. It'll give you a layout of the actual hotel, so you know which rooms you're supposed to be in, and then you will get a general list of who's talking when and in which rooms. So you can then spend a little time in that first hour or two deciding which conferences or which lectures you want to attend, because maybe there's a conflict and you want to go to two at the same time. In that case, you would get the audio of it afterwards. But it gives you an idea of what you're going to be doing. It can be overwhelming, so I do like to spend a little bit of time at that point to decide which lectures I'm going to be attending. Also, then I want to say that you need to fuel up, and what this means is have some breakfast before you get to the first lecture. Don't be sitting there munching through packets of things and crisp packets and slurping away at things. Generally, there will be water in the actual in the conference rooms, but you don't want to be munching and chomping away. It's actually distracting, and it's not pleasant for the others too. So I have a point called peeling the onion, and what this means is that hotels are notorious for either being too hot or too cold. So you could go into one conference room and you're chilly, and you step next door for the next lecture and suddenly you're overheated. So the way to deal with this is to wear layers. This is why I say peel the onion. And if you're a woman, you want to take pashminas that you can wrap round and take off, and layers. Some rooms will be very hot. Also, if there are actually activities in the room, such as some astro drama going on, you're going to want to take more off. So you don't want to be overburdened with jackets and clutter, but definitely a pashmina can help if there's an air conditioning blowing on you. So another great thing about going to conferences is that you're actually going to be meeting like-minded people, because everyone who's there is going to be an astrologer. So you can talk about astrology morning, noon and night, and horoscopes for breakfast, lunch and dinner, and just start the conversation and off it goes. Because it really, in your normal course of events, who can you actually speak to at home about astrology? So you need to have your info at hand. So what do we have? First of all, you're going to need your business card with your name and contact details. These are my newfangled business cards, and I just say quite simply Alison Price Astrologer, and then my website, because I've had an issue with my email address changing, and my phone changed about 3 months ago through no fault of my own. It was just one of those things. So I no longer now actually print my phone number or email address on the card, and if I need to I can just write it on the back if I'm handing it out to somebody. But there it is, you have to have it, it's awareness. Also, I will be taking promotional stuff such as this Luminary is fantastic, a summer workshop we'll be doing. There's another video on this as well, and this will be in Vancouver in July 2018. So if you're watching this after, I'm so sorry you missed it, maybe next year. So anyway, there's your information. You need to have it. You're going to pass it on. You're going to exchange contact details with people who you meet and you want to. Next up, it's going to be the art of writing. That when you go into these lectures, you really do need to have a notebook and a pen. They don't like you using computers or tapping away on a cell phone, because they don't allow recordings, as they actually sell the taped recordings afterwards continuously forever and ever. Amen. So the owners and organisers of the conferences prefer you to be taking notes by hand, and of course you will have your little notebook and a pen and just keep going and write your notes, which is handy, because really over a weekend like this you are flooded with information. So I find it's best to actually write down virtually everything I ever saw or did, lectures I attended and notes to myself, and I'll show you a couple of what they look like. So here I have my astrology journal, the current one. They just keep coming. I generally have one every 4 months, and I will have information about the actual what's going on in the heavens at the time. But I just want to get to a couple of pages where I've perhaps taken some notes about NORWAC18, for instance, and this was the opening address by Kelly Surtees, and I made some notes there about what she said, what I thought, this and that, and on it goes. And there are several pages within the book, and I do one for each actual lecture that I went to kind of like clue you in later. Some lectures you want to take more notes than others, and some you really just listening in. And then we got on to things. I went to a Rob Hand lecture, where's that, over here, and moving on then to Rick Levine and so on. So these were lectures that I went to. There are many notes that I've made to myself, and that's the notebook. So this is your astrology, call it your notebook, it's the astrology journal, where you're writing stuff down, because this is the current journal that you're actually working with. So my next point is see you later. And what that means is that if you go and travel, for instance, to, I don't know, to Chicago, or typically Seattle, which is what I'm talking about, where I was recently there, there may be sites and things that you want to actually do and see within the city. And maybe you decide, oh, I need to go to the bridge, I need to go to the sky, the Space Needle, the restaurant, or I need to do some shopping over at the mall and this and that. And that's all well and good. And because you're traveling, you might think, oh, I need to fit all this in. But the point is, if you go to an astrology conference, what I recommend is that you do the conference first and you tag a couple of days on the end to do your sightseeing and other trips, because by that time you can put your brain on autopilot and things just go along. We would also then consider, you want to consider your 11th house, because that will show you about friends and associates who you actually meet and how the actual event's going to be. So if you go to groups, 11th house, look at the current transits for the time of the actual conference and how planets may be passing through your 11th house or affecting your 11th house ruler. That would be the ruler of the planet that rules the sign on the cusp of your 11th house. And you can check out and see what this will indicate, the type of things that you're likely to get out of going to this particular conference. And each one will be different as the years move on, but that's one way to actually determine how fun it's going to be, or how exciting, or how interesting, or how inspired you will be when you come out at the other end. So the thing is as well that you are not alone when you go to astrology conferences, because it brings people together. You actually get to soak up information, and you will hear things that maybe doesn't generally interest you. In my early days of astrology, I wasn't particularly interested in the moon work and so on, being a very strong solar person myself. And then one day I was at one of these conferences and someone spoke about the moon in such a way that actually made me come home, get some books out, start exploring it further. And it's a way to inspire you to do more research, do more reading, practice more different tricks with your astrology, so that you're not just repeating the whole thing every time. It's a chance for you to offer you opportunities and give you ways to grow with your astrology business, and to show you perhaps another path that you could tread on this journey to astrological enlightenment. And this is a great thing about going to conferences as well. I also feel that you need to support the trade room. So the trade room is a room just off from the main conference. It can be a bookshop, and it can be a combination of, there's generally books for sure, definitely astrology books, but there's also things like tarot readers or crystal sellers. There's people who have astrological jewelry, calendars. They typically will be selling the software such as Solar Fire. And I mean, really, I don't know who doesn't have it, but if you need to buy Solar Fire, you can definitely get it at a conference, or you could pick up Time Passages, one of the apps for the iPhone. And these are the people in the trade room, and they're there all the weekend selling their wares and explaining to you exactly how their things work, so that you can grow as an astrologer as well. I also want to say that speakers are people too, and what this means is that the speakers who come to the conferences have been preparing at least for 6 months before they get there. They may have a 1-hour lecture, and they have put hours and hours and hours of preparation into their presentation, their PowerPoint or keynote work. They've created beautiful handouts for you. They've practiced their presentation for days and days and days beforehand. And they are there to, I wouldn't say to work, but they are there to express their opinion on astrology to you. And whilst they are very happy to speak with you and give the lecture, after the end of the lecture, you know, if you want to talk to them, all their details will be there. You can catch them maybe in the coffee shop or something like that. You don't need to pounce on people immediately after the lecture. One can be cool about these things. And there are certainly many opportunities during lunches and dinners and after dinner events for you to chat with all the speakers in turn, so that you can actually get to meet everybody. You don't need to gush on them as soon as they're not even checked in yet. They've come through the door with their luggage and people are on them. So be cool about that, yes. And if you please, just because you're far from home doesn't mean you can leave your manners at home. Of course, we also want to say please and thank you. It's always nice and gracious to tip the maid, and be aware of actually who's supporting you, and actually so that you can enjoy this weekend. Okay. And then you got to share the love, because when you go to conferences, the actual conference organizers have poured all their effort and energy and creative juices into preparing this fabulous conference for you, and you need to help them promote it. If you're an attendee, it's like when you go to a party, be a good guest. Tell everybody how great it was. If you've got a complaint, speak quietly to the manager. You don't need to be blaring on about it. And bringing the whole tone of the conference down. There are many ways where one can drop the ball, or there's the hotel going on, there's all sorts of people, there's a million things where things, maybe you wanted chicken and you got fish, whatever it is. But you know, you've really got to just, I don't know, I think you've got to let these things kind of go. If you're not interested in the meal, then just let it go. This is not the place to put out negative energy. It's a place to absorb positive energy from those around you. And if you are the positive person yourself, you will find that this attracts others as well. So you want to share the love. Also, one thing you will do is get your Astro Mojo back now. And Astro Mojo is what I call when I get a little bit tired after it's been a long year and you keep working and working and you maybe find yourself repeating yourself. But when you go to a conference, you're meeting new people. You're inspired again to look at maybe eclipses, look at Pluto, give a different view on earth signs or something like that. Learn some new techniques. And it's what I call getting your Astro Mojo back. You're talking to others. Everyone's animated about astrology. It's a fabulous place to be as an astrologer. It really is. And you can come away absolutely ready to go, roaring to go, and with tons of new ideas, which is great. That's the whole idea. Also, I want to say that you need to be paying it forward. So what this means is that if you enjoyed the conference, tell other people, post it to your social media, help support and grow so that that particular conference can continue to happen next year or every 4 years or every 2 years or whatever it is. Because the organizers are looking to you to help promote their conference as well. They're pouring their life into it. It really is the case. I know Toby and I do these summer astrology workshop in Vancouver, and it really is, it takes a lot of effort, a lot of creative juices from you. And in our early years, I must say, we actually were coming away with a loss, and it was quite devastating for all the effort and all that we wanted to share with everybody. But as the years have gone on, it has slowly grown, and it's now trickling into a mini profit, if you want to call it that. So we can at least get coffee at the end. But the actual expense, not only financial, but of you're psychically, you're kind of drained by putting these things on. So you want to pay it forward. If you feel that you did sit in a lecture with a fantastic speaker, you've got to tell people, you've got to post it. You've got to tell the organizers, she was fantastic. You need to get her back. She's got so much more to tell us. We want to hear her stuff. And this is the important thing as well for you as an attendee to not just pitch up and say, oh, that was okay, and walk out. Because astrology can't grow like that. We are still very much a fledgling entity. We need the support from people who, like you, who are interested in astrology and who want to learn more and be part of the community. Yeah, so these are the main points that I wanted to talk to you about how to have fun at an astrology conference. I'm going to share with you some of the experiences I had at NORWAC recently. It was a great time. I've got a few fragmented images and things going on there. We caught a cab from the house here, our apartment. It must have been about 5 a.m. We caught the cab up to the Pacific Central Station, which is the train station in Vancouver, and then got on the train. And I have to tell you, I haven't been on a train in 30 years, so that in itself was something. Got on the train. I travelled up with hubby, and it really was quite good. I would recommend it next time if you're going to Seattle, because it was about a 4-hour journey, and then we stopped several stations along the way, and then ultimately to Seattle. We actually went through to Tukwila and caught a cab from there, discovering that Uber is there. Got a cab up to the hotel, checked into the room, lovely, went down to the reception desk, found everything out and where it was, because I was actually speaking that time as well, and that's how it went. We were not allowed to tape or take photographs in the lecture rooms. That's why there on of these photos there are no actual pictures in the lecture rooms. We did on the first night we were there, my husband and I just went over and had a quick dinner across the road, because the conference actually only began really on the Friday, and that was the Thursday night. And then on Friday lunch, the opening ceremony was with Kelly, and she was fantastic. We then go on, and there's Friday lunch, there's Friday dinners. I've got some images of what we ate in the hotel and this and that. Then on the Saturday, there were several more events and more lunches and dinners, and this is where all the action happens. Moving on, we had a banquet on the Saturday night, and then on Sunday morning, I was up at the crack of dawn, 7 a.m. They say document the journey, and this is certainly it here. So I'm now here, just going to have a quick Starbucks. Early in the morning, just in the lobby of the hotel. It's really been an excellent weekend. It's still very early on Sunday morning, but I'm happy to be out and about. The weather's really perked up. It was raining terribly when we came down, but now it's lightened up a lot. So it's great. We're going to have a wonderful day. Super early morning here in NORWAC, and no one's up yet. There's the reception desk, and then just over here we have this fabulous table where you can, called the free table, where you can put your stuff, put your adverts as astrologers. Yep. Here we have it. My stuff, my cards, moving on with all the other astrologers that are actually here at the conference this weekend. There's all sorts of things going on, evolutionary, moon stuff, psychology stuff. It's absolutely brilliant. The table just seems to go on and on and on forever. And then in our passages, this is where most of the action takes place. Fantastic. Super, so it's Sunday morning here at NORWAC. It's a beautiful crisp time of the day, to put it mildly. I don't know what the temperature is, it's probably about 5, but I'm just outside the hotel. I just wanted to show you guys a little bit of what it's like out here. It's really, really pretty nice. They've got some gorgeous little gardens going on, quite good there. And then across the road there's a huge shopping centre if you're interested in that sort of thing. And yeah, so I'll be doing my talk later on today, and I'll let you know afterwards how that went. You can see me out there in the gardens looking at the plants, because I was giving my talk that morning at 10:15 and I was up prepared, ready to go, practicing and sharp. So I was actually outside thinking, oh, I need to take more video while I'm here, because as you may know, I'm new at YouTube, or you at YouTube, whichever way you want to take it. So I did some shots there in and about and around of how things went. And here's some more shots of the from my vantage point on the 3rd floor, down in the main bar, down there, and then over here we've got the restaurant. That's fantastic. As I say, a little quiet, but it only occurred to me to take some videos later on this morning to do so. Great. And here we've got some shots of the hotel lobby. There's a main lobby down there, restaurant and bar. It's still, as I say, early in the morning. And the main hotel actually has all the floors going all the way up through this vast opening there. The reason I'm showing you more pictures of the hotel than the actual conference is because we're not allowed to tape or take images in the actual lecture, so that's kind of limiting in a way. So there you have it. But you've got to respect the intellectual property rights of all the speakers, and we do. And my lecture went well. I was well supported. I had over 55 people in the room. I was very excited. I was very pleased that everybody was there, and I did send them all the PDFs of the screen notes afterwards, which is great. And then moving on to Sunday, more dinners. What can I tell you? And then we left on the Monday morning. Again, we're crack of dawning here. The sun had not risen. It was 6:05 or something when we left the hotel. Got a cab back down to the main station in Seattle. I think it's called King Edward Station. I'll double check that. And I've got some photos there because we sat in that particular station for a long time. There was a big long queue of people waiting to get onto this train. And I have some shots there of the Victorian ceiling in this train station. It made me realize that there must be hundreds and hundreds of train stations like this dotted across America that have been there for 100 years, very Victorian, with oak leaves and so on the top of the ceiling, which was kind of something. So anyway, and that really was our journey there. I had a great weekend, and I really recommend you go to NORWAC specifically. Laura runs a very tight ship, but it's excellent, and you will meet world-class astrologers, and it's fantastic. And of course, I'll be there giving a lecture with any luck next year or the year after. We'll see. So I also want to thank all my Patreon supporters. Your names are here on my list. I'll be adding this to the end of each of my videos, depending who's supporting me when. I also would ask you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. It does help me grow as well. And I've got some more links below on this video, so you can see a little bit more of the detail about something I missed or something like that. I'm so pleased that you were here to watch this with me, and thank you for sharing my journey with me. Thank you, and have a prosperous day.